My name is Danielle Douglas, and I work for Wellby Financial, which is a credit union, and I am the Vice President of the Project Management Office. We had a lot of work to do in that area for infrastructure, digitization, automation, and we have been making a lot of progress, replaced over 60 applications in the last several years and then added many new. I think that we really had to figure out which projects were going to deliver the most value with the least amount of effort. So we were using the 80-20 Pareto principle to try to identify our quick wins, because we need to do so much, we can't do it all at once. And we also needed to be able to visualize where that was going to impact our team members so that they can handle the amount of change we're throwing at them. So we needed to be able to see where all of our new initiatives would impact our membership and our team members, and then have a sound scoring methodology so that we can pick the right work. One of the biggest challenges that we faced was transparency across the organization. We have 7 divisions and over 20 departments, and each of those departments were working on initiatives that everybody didn't know about. We found a couple of situations where different departments were working on the same or similar initiative. So now, by using OnePlan and having all of our portfolio in one place for transparency, that has helped us to reduce some redundancies. I think one of the main things is adaptive strategic portfolio management. We have some teams that are using Agile with Scrum, some that are doing Kanban. Our large enterprise projects are primarily predictive waterfall. So we needed to be able to support different types of methodologies. That was one thing. Another thing we really liked about OnePlan was ease of configuration. We needed a low code or no code option to be able to configurize OnePlan to meet our needs. You already have integrations to the Microsoft products that we use, Teams and SharePoint and Planner, and that's fantastic. There's already an integration to Azure DevOps. There's an integration to Active Directory. There's an integration to WorkPlan Financials. So those are some of the key factors that helped us decide on OnePlan. It is a fantastic tool because it does roll all of the components of OKRs and initiatives together. Without being able to combine those in one place and see it in one place, it's very difficult to understand if you're selecting the right work, executing the right work, the work that has the most value. So I think that is super important. So we defined our objectives and key results as part of our strategic planning. And for each of our initiatives, we connect it to a key result that it's intended to impact. So you can see, when scoring projects to decide which projects to do, which key result are you expecting it to impact, and by how much, and by when. So being able to see all of that in one place makes you feel better about the projects that you're selecting. It makes it a lot easier to see what projects you shouldn't do. Mainly reporting transparency. I think the biggest thing we're able to see specific to the PMO perspective is we added a custom work type for lessons learned, and we're logging lessons learned and have a custom report that shows us lessons learned across the whole portfolio by category. So there's a pie chart, and it's like, you can see right off the bat, most of our problems are in this area. So we have a primary category and then a subcategory. So were our lessons learned mainly around project communications? Was it mainly around change management? Was it mainly around testing? So that is a report that our PMs use regularly to identify things to avoid for future projects, and also we log successes there, things to keep doing, things that worked well. We had some kind of standard work schedule templates that we were using for our large enterprise projects through using OnePlan's timesheets. So we were using this to predict capacity needs from the project management office. So we would estimate, the average initiation phase of a project will take this many weeks with this many hours from a project manager across those weeks, and then how many hours for planning and how many weeks for that. Through using the timesheets, we were able to identify where we were way off. So we were able to modify the template so that then in our subsequent enterprise projects, at least for the PMO team, we were able to modify our resource projections so that we could better understand where we wouldn't have enough resources. So we've been able to do a lot of customization with OnePlan. For example, we take baselines to show, when somebody first pitched the project, they said it was going to take 4 months, and we can baseline that. So we're going to go live in April. And then after project planning is done, and then we have more data, we can then take another baseline to show, okay, project we're looking more like a June go live. And we implemented some custom fields and snapshotted them so that we can then take notes on our baselines. When we baseline, why we re-baselined. Was there new scope added? Was there some other technical challenge? Did we lose a resource? So we can see slips to our schedule and understand why they happened. And then also we're using the ROI calculations from the financial planner to help us inputs into project prioritization. So we can quickly see what is the anticipated ROI for projects to help the executive leadership decide which projects make the most sense. OnePlan Advantage, my thoughts on that are it's invaluable, and we really rely on them, and they have the right level of expertise to help us. And so we use them as a sounding board too, to say, we think that we might try to implement it this way. And sometimes he's like, yeah, that sounds great. I've seen other people do that. And other times he's like, I wouldn't recommend that. And he can tell us why. So his expertise has been amazing. I also appreciate being able to do a slow implementation. We're building the plane as we're flying it, as so many people are. So we weren't able to work with an implementation consultant where we were just able to sit down with them and say, here's all our requirements, build this for us. So we needed to be able to take the time to do that. So that was very important to us. Two of the biggest things that we were so excited about and started using the moment they came out was the enterprise permissions, so that we can add certain users to teams, and then we use those teams to apply permissions, so that perhaps project managers don't need to see the portfolio modeling, and we can block finance from different teams, that sort of thing. And then also custom notifications. So we're using immediately we started adding notifications based on triggers that go to a specific team. So for a steering committee that is doing project governance, they get automatically notified if a go live date changes on a project, so that they know that the go live date changed. If a project status changes from on track to at risk, they know immediately. So they don't have to wait to see the status report. The moment it changes in the plan, they get a notification. I think the most significant change is transparency, and I just can't reiterate it enough. Our organization, people were so surprised at what was coming out, when it was coming out, when we were going to launch it. And now we've been able to publish portfolio timelines to our internal intranet, so our team members know what's happening, when it's going to happen, when the expected go live date is. And we have on our portfolio timeline that's published to our intranet, you can click on each project and it displays the most recent status summary under it. So anybody who has an interest in a particular project and following that project, even if they're not on the project team, they're not on the development team, they're on the front line, there's somebody who can't wait for this project, they can see where it's at. I think on a daily basis, we're able to have a better handle of where the status is, where work is slipping behind, and that's the main thing for our PMs to be able to keep the project schedules on track, and the visibility across the teams of being able to learn from each other too, and how to implement some best practices there has been what's most helped our PMs. I think the frequency of updates, of new functionality being added, the ability to add feature requests is helping people come together to solve the same sorts of problems. So many different organizations are trying to solve the same problem, and I think that OnePlan's relationship with Microsoft and other organizations that specialize with PPM helps them to have the right type of knowledge.